when you get your tongue slide and you're around it under low power, what you're looking for is this edge that has these large bumps on it. What you don't want is one of these cut edges over here. We want this surface with the bumps. Now, many people have the misconception that when they stick their tongue out and look at it in the mirror, the bumps that they see are the taste buds. That's not right. The bumps that you see on the surface of your tongue are called papillae. Taste buds are microscopic structures. You can't see them with the naked eye. You can only see them with a microscope. So what we have here is the surface of the tongue. This is a papillae. This is a papillae. This is a papillae. That's what you're looking for, okay? The taste buds are in the crevices between papillae. So on my slide, it's not stained very, very clearly, but in this crevice right here, on the side of the papillae, are little roundish to ovalish looking structures that are the taste buds. Again, mine aren't stained very clearly, but hopefully on your slide they are. But they're on the sides of the taste buds, or the papillae, excuse me. So when we zoom in on those, what we will see is that an individual taste bud is actually composed of many, many cells. So again, mine aren't the greatest, but here is one taste bud right here. Here's another one. Flip the edge of one here. It looks like there's the edge of one here. Another one here. There's one. There's one. There's one. There's one. Getting the idea, you guys? Yep. So they are on the sides of the papillae. And of course, when you eat and drink, the saliva carries food chemicals down into these little grooves between papillae, where the taste buds have little sensory fibers that actually extend out, sample that saliva, and detect the chemicals that make it up. That information then eventually goes to the brain as a process, and you perceive it as taste. Okay? So that's what we're looking for here. Now, because this is a free surface at the tongue, we have an epithelium. The epithelium is a stratified squamous epithelium. Now, depending on the book or the histology atlas that you reference, and depending on the type of papilla, there's 4 different kinds of papilla, sometimes the epithelium is non-keratinized, sometimes it's keratinized, sometimes it's intermediate between the two, and they call that para-keratinized. We're not going to deal with any of that. All we're going to concern ourselves with is that it's stratified squamous. Don't worry about saying keratinized, non-keratinized, or para-keratinized. We're not interested in that. What else have we got? Glands or skeletal muscles. So I'm going to come back to low power. I'm going to go deeper into the tongue. I've got several structures here. Most of it is glandular and skeletal muscle mixed together. This is a fascicle of muscle coming out of the screen atlas, as is this. This is a fascicle running lengthwise. This is glandular material with adipose tissue mixed in. So the muscle fascicles are going every which way in here. Some are cut nice and longitudinally, others are cut in cross-section, others are cut obliquely. Mixed in with that would be that glandular material that's secreting, depending on the gland, sometimes a serous type of fluid, sometimes a mucus type of fluid. And in infants, the glands also secrete lipase, an enzyme that breaks down fats. When you think about what an infant's diet is, milk. And raw milk has a lot of fat in it. So to help the digestion of those fats, infants secrete fat-digesting enzymes from the tongue, lingual lipase. Now, in adults and in adolescents, that function goes away, but the pancreas also secretes fat-digesting enzymes, pancreatic lipase. What else have we got on the list? Oh, name 4 cranial nerves or branches out that innervate the tongue and the type of information they send. So this goes back to that cranial nerves table that you guys studied last quarter. Recall that the trigeminal, specifically the mandibular branch, remember that conveys sensory information but not taste information. So things like proprioceptive muscle, for example, or pressure or temperature, things like that would be conveyed by that trigeminal. In contrast, if we were interested in taste buds specifically and their innervations, remember the facial and the glossopharyngeal? Facial was taste buds on anterior 2/3 of tongue. Glossopharyngeal was taste buds on 1/3, posterior 1/3 of the tongue. Just ringing bells. The fourth one, hypoglossal, motor commands the muscle so that you can move your tongue. So there's the 4 cranial nerves. Those of you who got deep into the nervous system last quarter may recall that there was another cranial nerve that innervated taste buds found on the epiglottis. Did any of you come across that? No. The taste buds on the epiglottis, they're few and far between, but those are innervated by the vagus. So we don't have any slides of epiglottis per se, but if he gave you a high-powered view of the papilla without being able to see the underlying tongue musculature and glands, you wouldn't necessarily know that you were in tongue. So there's a potential bonus question here. He just shows you a close-up of a papilla and a taste bud, and he said name all possible cranial nerve innervations. You'd want to include vagus, because there are taste buds on the epiglottis as well. I haven't seen him do that in quite a while, but I have seen it done before.